It was the assert?
Yeah, it was the assert, but I was asking everybody that if I just want to do the executable assert, if I want to run a GNU Debugger gdb, and I want to debug this code, right now if I say gdb assert, some of the things is not available for it. Like if I could just say run, say number 1 is says a 5 and number 2 is a 4. It does the calculation and it finishes and everything. But if I say layout next, it is even that one is available. So let's do run and then say number 1 is 55.5 is 777, and then we say let's just say set break to break to main function, and then at this time we say refresh. No source available, so let's run refresh. You notice that the source is not showing here, and the reason is because I did not compile it with the -G option. So I'm going to get out of here, quit, and I say yes, go ahead, quit. And I was asking if anybody could say that if I want to just have this assert binary, as this time I'm going to compile it. Let's just move this one assert to assert dot old. We just call it old. And this time I'm going to say G++ minus G for the debugging option, and then minus O assert, and then C++ assert dot C++. So basically I'm introducing one more parameter on the G with the G option, which means that put the debugging on. So when I use the GDB, GNU Debugger, then it knows that, okay, this was compiled with debugging option on. If this one was not on, that layout information will not display for you. So a lot of the details will be not available. Now I have a file called assert, and then I kept the old one as assert.old. And so notice the binaries are different sizes. One is having this and the one is that. Both of them are gonna say they're executable. And a name, let me just do assert and then assert.old. Only those two, both of them are saying exactly as object file shared object format with version and link library and everything. And if I do LDD on the assert binary to see that the shared object that gets compiled at runtime, and it shows all the Linux LD library loader that gets compiled, and then the GNU GCC shared objects and everything else. So it is there, and then each one of these files are actually physical files on my system that is a library that my code needs for library of C. For example, if I do file this one, you can see that is executable link format itself. And if I do a LDD on that one, sorry, LDD, then you can see the output of that one. And then so if I do, let me see if there's an image also available. Yeah, so if there was any symbol tables that those ones had it, it will just give you the symbol tables also for the kernel. But let's go look at the actual assert2 files. So now we had the assert and then assert.old. The assert itself is have the option of -g with the debugging. Now I'm going to do something here called file assert and assert.old. And then I'm going to do one more command. You say def assert and assert.old. So the fact that we did the same kind of options, except one of them has a G option, the debugging, it just says the two files are different. And then if I say -r recursively, and go to this, still because this is not a directory, it's just two files. It just says those two files are there, different. And if I just say, well, show me the size of the file, you can see even the size is different. But now let's see the difference between this one and the old one. The old one, we couldn't do the layout things here. So I'm going to do gdb./assert. Gnu Debugger this, and then right here, if I just say analyze next, I'm going to have to run it first, and then say 10 and 20. The result is this. Layout, not analyze this, layout next. So now I'm going to say list and run it. Notice that source code, because I put the debugger, it comes on. And then it's asking me for input, and I'm just going to do, and then it's going to just give the output. So this time if I say, let's go say set break. For break of a main line on the main function, we set it, and then we say run. It's going to come on the main function right here, and then I'm going to say next. It's going to come to the function get input. So these variables are declared at the time already in the stack, but they don't have any value here. So if I say print number 1, it does not have any value but the memory address space. Print number 2, no values. Print result is nothing. Something pointing to the memory address, it's a kind of garbage to me. It does not mean anything to us. So now let's say next, and it's gonna say, it calls this one, and it's gonna say enter the number. Now I'm gonna say 4, and last time somebody says 4. I'm going to try that 2 numbers. Thanks for volunteering for those numbers. So I'm going to do 4, and then this time it's going to say enter number 2. It's going to say, I'm going to say 8, like he did. So now it just checks for the number. If I just say print number 1, it has the value 4. Print number 2, it has the value of 2. And print result, it does not have the value yet. Now I say next, it is going to do that division function. So then I say print result, and then result is still not known because this function has to be there. So I say next. Now it has the result, print result, it is 0.5, which is accurate, 4 divided by 8. And then now we say next, and then it says the result is this because show result. If I say step or next, it's just going to go to the next statement, and then say next is going to just go to get input, and the function main is done. When the function main is done, the scope of number 1, number 2, result are all gone, because now we're on the end of the main function. Those functions had their lifespan at the time of that function calls. That's what a scope resolution on that time means. variables were created at the stack at the time the functions were active. When the function ended, especially when the main function ended, everything is there. The program terminated, finished. So now if I print number 1, it has no value. Print number 2, I have no value. Print number, result, and no value because the program ended. So now if I just say run again, and then this time we say start, yes, go ahead and start again. Notice this time I'm going to break it by just giving a input there. So I'm going to say run, and then say go ahead, run it. And we have to do a breakpoint, but I'm going to say next. So when it asks me for the numbers, I'm going to say A. Now notice as soon as you type in A, B, C, the program keeps going to that while statement until I give a correct number. And then once I gave a correct number, then it says give me a value for B, a number 2. So H, X, Z, whatever. And you put Wahid, it doesn't matter. It's going to keep saying that you did not give a valid number. I say 1,000. So 100 divided by 1,000 is some numbers, 0 point something. So it's going to just give you, let's say, next for the result, next, and then next, now the 0.1. And then we could do next until the program ends. So now the program ends, the result is not having print, result is not having any value, print, the number is not having, number 1 is not having value, print number 2 is not having value, and so on, because the program finished. So now we could quit and say, yes, I'm done with it. And that's how you debug your code. Please use these videos, watch it. It's going to help you a lot your next classes, some of your classes that you're troubleshooting and you're finding out how to do the GNU debugger. Sometimes you can live debug the operating system like Linux or Solaris using the ADB or MDB or GDB. And then you can see where the core files are, what type of this information. By writing your own programs, you have so much knowledge about how to trace these codes, and it will help you. This is your time and opportunity that you have this class with me to ask as many questions as you can so I can help you further to answer your question. Today we went through some of the lectures until 8:40 right now. We're going to stop at this time, and then we're going to take a 15 minutes break. And you're going to come back and then do the lab activities. I'm going to put the information where you are and doing it on the chat on the lab activity. Please